Welcome back to another exciting video on our channel. Today, we are diving deep into a thought-provoking article that just came out about the Men Going Their Way movement, or MGTOW for short. The author of this article makes a bold comparison, stating that the MGTOW movement is the Taliban of the manosphere. Can you believe that? The article further delves into the MGTOW movement, describing it as a misogynist movement that promotes hating women instead of loving them. According to the article, the MGTOW movement represents a significant shift in the way men and women relate to each other. We are becoming increasingly afraid to work with each other, flirt with each other, and even love each other. It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? The author goes on to say that the MGTOW movement is only the tip of a toxic iceberg. Millions of men now have general anxiety about women that simply did not exist as recently as the end of the last century. This anxiety is widespread, mainstream, and real. It's a shocking revelation, and we must address it head-on. But before we continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so that you never miss out on our latest videos. We have a lot of exciting content coming up that you won't want to miss. So without further ado, let's dive into this article and see what we can learn from it. According to an article in GQ, men believe that women pose a threat to their careers. But is this the case? The author of this article, a famous novelist and journalist, accuses men of spreading lies about the MGTOW movement and not trying to understand what it means to men who have been manipulated and used by women worldwide. He argues that manipulation is the primary tool that modern women use against men, and they will continue to use it until their last breath. The author goes on to claim that women are experts at manipulating men's emotions to fulfill their wishes. They'll try to convince men to buy them gifts, accept seeing other people, move closer to where they work, and believe in whatever they want them to believe. Unfortunately, weak men often fall for these tactics, putting up with abuse solely for the sake of one thing we all know. The author argues that men should keep their distance from such women, who they know will exploit and manipulate them. It's a controversial stance, but one that's worth discussing. We want to know what you think about this issue. Do you believe that men should avoid women in the workplace? Or do you think that it's essential for men and women to work together, regardless of any potential threats or manipulations? Let us know in the comments below. Let's talk about dating contemporary women. It's time to dispel the myth that it's a flex. Sure, they might try to lure you with their charms and fulfill your wildest desires, but the real flex lies in maintaining your composure and standing your ground. Nice guys, don't be fooled into thinking that being sensitive is the key to winning a woman's heart. It makes you more vulnerable to manipulation. Instead, it's essential to conquer your emotions and call out the BS that women seem to ignore. They want our affection but also desire rejection as if we have a love switch. It's time to break free from the submissive and outdated traditions that society has imposed on us. The white knight test is no longer valid, and kneeling with an expensive diamond ring is not the way to win her heart. Women are socially instructed to accept men's sacrifices and be subservient, but their innate character should dictate that they are the ones who are submissive. You've been turning heads lately, and it's not hard to see why. You're breaking all the rules of traditional relationships, and that takes guts. But in your situation, it's the woman who stands to gain the most when a man takes charge and makes decisions for her. It may sound old-fashioned, but hear me out. Back in the day, men were the protectors and providers, the ones who made the tough calls. But nowadays, men are often encouraged to treat women as equals, especially in the workplace. So where does that leave women in relationships? Well, when a man takes charge, it can be a relief for the woman. She doesn't have to make all the decisions herself, and that can be a huge weight off her shoulders. But it's not just about taking the pressure off. When a man makes good decisions for both of them, it can boost a woman's confidence and sense of self-assurance. And let's not forget about the kids. When there's a strong, decisive male figure in the household, the kids tend to be more disciplined and productive. And that can lead to a better future for everyone. But I know what you're thinking. Why should women submit to men? And that's a fair question. The answer is that it's not really about submission. It's about finding a partner who compliments you and supports you in the way that you need. And for many women, that means finding a man who can take charge when needed. Of course, this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. Some women prefer to be in control, and that's perfectly fine. But for those who are looking for a strong, emotionally superior partner, there's nothing wrong with that either. And for those who worry about being reliant on a man, let me remind you that there are other safety nets out there, like government benefits and retirement plans. It's interesting to hear about your past experiences and how they've shaped your views on relationships. Unfortunately, your home life wasn't ideal, but it's great that you were able to find a positive influence in military school. As for your thoughts on gender roles and relationships, societal norms and expectations have indeed shifted over time. It can be challenging to navigate these changes, but it's important to remember that every relationship is unique and requires mutual respect and communication. While some women may try to assert dominance in a relationship, it's not fair to generalize or assume that all women are like that. In any relationship, both partners should strive for equality and understanding. Ultimately, it's about finding someone who respects and supports you, regardless of gender or societal expectations. It's no secret that men have had a long-standing role as protectors and providers of society. They've built entire civilizations, fought in wars, and made groundbreaking discoveries that have shaped the world as we know it. Yet, despite all of their contributions, men are often forgotten and overlooked in the grand scheme of things. They're left to fend for themselves in a society that is increasingly geared towards the empowerment of women. While women have made significant strides in achieving equality and breaking through gender barriers, men have been left behind. They don't have the same platforms and opportunities to share their stories and grievances as women do. They're expected to keep their heads down, work hard, and provide for their families without complaint. But who is there to fight for them? Who is there to advocate for their rights and ensure that they're not left behind in the march toward progress? It's time for society to recognize the struggles that men face and give them the space and support they need to speak up. It's time to create platforms where men can share their stories, connect with others, and find solace in their struggles. Men shouldn't have to suffer in silence or be forced to conform to societal expectations that don't align with their values. They deserve to be heard, acknowledged, and supported just like women do. It's interesting how society's expectations and gender roles have evolved, and yet some things seem to stay the same. Men and women both have their strengths and weaknesses, but sometimes those differences can lead to misunderstandings and even resentment. Both sexes need to understand each other's perspectives and motivations to build healthy, fulfilling relationships. As men, we've indeed been conditioned to be the providers and protectors, and that can come with its own set of challenges. Women, on the other hand, have been taught that they are entitled to certain things from men, but that can also lead to unrealistic expectations and disappointment. It's a delicate balance and one that requires open communication and empathy from both sides. As we move forward as a society, I hope that we can bridge the gap between the sexes and work toward mutual understanding and respect. Men and women both have important roles to play, and we need each other to thrive. It may take some time and effort, but I believe that we can create a world where everyone is valued and appreciated for who they are. Let's start the conversation and see where it takes us. Thanks for watching.